Our river is the ultimate basin of relations, the place where all the factors influencing the Petaluma area come together: land, wind, rain, plants, animals, industry, government input, and human concerns, just to name a few. Petaluma exists because the river is here. Yes, we've heard the statement, whiskey is for drinking, water is for fighting over, at City Council many times because it has been true. But our group seeks to change the dialogue of how water, and particularly stormwater, is managed and viewed. Much of the fight has been because people are so affected by flooding. We can't change that we exist at the basin of the watershed, but we can change what happens between earth and sky to reduce flooding hazards. Urban forestry is one method. The FEMA change map shows new flood hazard areas in pink, removed areas in green, and unchanged areas in blue. The pink and blue areas may need green infrastructure retrofits to decrease impermeable areas to reduce and contain runoff in storm events. The river was here first and will be here last. What has ebbed and flowed over time is the outlook. Originally the primary source for the city of Petaluma, the river is now seen as a liability. As we look at a stormwater utility, we wish to propose this question: is stormwater being considered a resource or a liability in the proposed projects and through stormwater maintenance? Petaluma is listed on the Federal Clean Water Act 303D list as having poor quality water due to high levels of the following: diazinon, pesticides from ag and individual household use, and point source chemicals, phosphates, etc., from both urban runoff, primarily car washes and home fertilizer use, and urban construction. Which brings us to Petaluma and our design project. Because Petaluma is facing requirements to improve water quality in the Petaluma River, the city must decide how best to address its runoff problems. Addressing poor road and sidewalks with green streets could reduce road maintenance by 20 to 30% and subsequent polluted runoff from these vehicles if students could ride bikes or walk to school safely. In December 2012, a single rain event increased stormwater infiltration upwards of 35 million gallons through the Ellis Creek facility. Stormwater pretreatment is an unnecessary taxpayer expense, resulting in reduced capacity during storm events. Low-impact development, LID, is an approach to stormwater management that mimics a site's natural hydrology as the landscape is developed. Green infrastructure is an approach to wet weather management that is cost-effective, sustainable, and environmentally friendly. Phase 2 NPDES permit requires new construction to use LID. Effective stormwater management strategies reduce the operations and maintenance costs associated with water retention, drainage, and landscaping. On-site management reduces treatment and maintenance costs to municipalities, which is beneficial to the local tax base. Reward-based incentives may include utility fee discounts, tax benefits, project grant funding, or even expedited review of development proposals. Stormwater utility fees are typically based on a property's impervious surfaces. One EPA document is easy to explain to people. If you pave, you pay. Having a dedicated stormwater utility helps bring these issues directly into people's awareness. Stormwater utility provides an opportunity to educate the public on costs and other issues of stormwater management and potentially to offer citizens participation through incentive programs. And Petaluma doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. Cities such as Palo Alto already do this. Palo Alto was an early stormwater utility adopter, establishing one in 1990. Its aggressive rebate program rewards people for reducing runoff and includes rain catchment systems, small and large, from rain barrels to underground cisterns. Impervious paved areas produce high amounts of stormwater runoff and move surface pollutants directly into storm drains. Palo Alto offers residential customer rebates of up to $1,000 to replace impervious pavement with permeable solutions. Palo Alto offers the same rebate structure for green roofs, which can absorb most or all of the water that falls on them during small rainfall events and can greatly delay and reduce the runoff that would otherwise occur during major storms. This Petaluma neighborhood does a very good job of channeling water from its rooftops to wide bare streets and down storm drains. Unfortunately, they're just downstream of Corona Creek, an ongoing source of flooding for nearby seniors and a mobile community. The city could incentivize neighbors to reduce upstream flooding through disconnecting downspouts, sinking and storing water, and increasing street edge stormwater capacity with urban forestry, reducing road maintenance by a third. Anyone practicing regenerative stormwater management is also practicing urban watershed forestry. They are inextricably linked. In partnership with Daily Acts, the city is replacing lawns with more vertical plants, increasing infiltration as water is slowed. An urban forestry department could manage the stormwater utilities' renewable resources in Petaluma. Watershed health is tied to forests, which save energy, improve air quality, neighborhood vitality, and properties, provide habitat, reduce noise, and more. Because many of these solutions take place at the decentralized local level and will be in plain sight of citizens, the solutions themselves contribute to a heightened awareness of stormwater, as well as a heightened literacy about the need for stewardship. LID and green infrastructure are sustainable practices that benefit water supply and contribute to water quality protection. LID uses site design and stormwater management to maintain the site's pre-development runoff rates and volumes. Let's look at a larger study. The American Society of Landscape Architects looked at 479 cases from across the U.S. The report finds the majority of projects turned out to be just as affordable or even more so than the traditional gray infrastructure. These examples of green versus gray infrastructure from World Resources Institute show comparisons for improving water infrastructure in New York, reducing groundwater pollution in Indiana, and minimizing stormwater runoff in North Carolina. When rain flows through a gray infrastructure, a lot of money is wasted, basically going down the drain. The bottom line to cost-effective stormwater management is to manage rainfall at the source using uniformly distributed, decentralized micro-scale controls. In other words, low-impact development. Not only does green infrastructure cost less, but these practices further reduce costs of treating large amounts of polluted runoff. Look at the pollutants that simple stair-stepped catchments in Seattle removed from the stormwater. They also captured 98% of the stormwater leaving the street. Philadelphia did a life cycle analysis that went out to 2049 because they were deciding whether to build a 30-foot tunnel or go with a 50% LID solution. The LID solution saves almost $450,000 over the tunnel and gave extraordinary environmental and social benefits. Planning infrastructure solutions to Petaluma's current and future stormwater challenges will require us to think differently about how we manage runoff. Additionally, ratepayers will likely insist on greater benefits and efficiencies for the investments they're asked to fund. Green infrastructure promises cost-effective runoff management strategies that reduce or prevent flows of runoff into overstressed sewer systems and waterways while providing tangible benefits to neighborhoods and communities. The timeline of outreach and education is the map to implementation of a stormwater utility initiative, which could be realized in 3 major phases. Our group, Water, is committed to assisting in inquiry, endorsement, and promotion phases for a successful ballot measure. In 1854, Adobe Creek became the water source for the city of Petaluma. By 1880, most of Adobe Creek was diverted, and 100 years later, the creek was deemed dead, its critters vanished, its dry creek bed a wasteland of toxic garbage. In 1983, the United Anglers of Casa Grande High School began restoration efforts. They worked with officials to remove water diversions and keep the creek from being undergrounded. Their creek restoration efforts led to wildlife returning to the watershed. As we recover from a huge shift in capital from the public to the private sector, we see developers adapt by shifting from building to retrofitting. We can continue that reskilling and job creation through adopting regenerative policies.